Yo guys, what's good? What's good? What's good? I hope everybody's having a great day today. Hope everybody's enjoying their weekend. This is just gonna be taking care of the other half of the VTube visual novel community goal stream. Welcome everyone. Hope you guys are all doing well. We're gonna go ahead and just work on another 2 hours of this. As of right now, let me just let you guys know in terms of our community goal for the VTube skin for March. We are just we just need slightly over 9,000 channel points to hit that goal. That's gonna be just to use the VTube skin. I don't think we're gonna be able to hit the visual novel goal since we've got today and Monday left. So if you guys want to keep seeing the VTube skin for Friday streams, yeah, get those channel points redeemed. Otherwise, why don't we go ahead and continue on our story here. Alrighty, so this was... Oh yeah, we met the detective Oishiro, and he let us know that Tomitake ended up passing away after the Watanagashi. Very shortly after we parted ways. Oh, I had some water going up the wrong pipes. So, like, my nose is, like, waterlogged. I apologize. I'm sorry. Alright, let's continue on. So, we're just getting back into the classroom after all of that. It's Michan, the perpetrator. Huh? I was startled to hear Reina's voice. With the rope in the lounge. Nope. No. Reina clutched her head while flailing about. Looks like you're just self-destructing over here. Wow. Ah! Keiichi-san, you're quite late. As you may well know, I'm seething with anger. Sorry about that. I was called into the staff room, you see. You were reprimanded for bad behavior? That's a shame. Well, it's been pretty heated over here. Since it's getting pretty late, let's make the next game the last one. If I remember right, I had 0 points. Isn't it pretty much decided that I'm going to be finishing in last place? Don't worry, Keiichi-kun. I'm at -1 point. Oh. The heck? Their score was lower than mine. I wasn't even playing. This is the final match to decide if the penalty is going to be carried out by Reina alone or by both Kei-chan and Reina. Yeah, right. Just let Reina do the penalty by herself. We made a promise, Keiichi-kun, and we would both win. I waited all this time, you know? Ugh, I'm sorry about that. I followed my initial plan of showing Reina my cards, but I didn't say who was the criminal and just waited for her to call. I got it! The murderer is me, with the poison at the entrance. Is it? Is it? My, Reina. Quite a quick answer. Another stab in the dark? Oh. Reina's correct. Oh ho ho ho! Then it's decided that Keiichi-san shall take part in the penalty as well. Hooray! Keiichi-kun, let's both do our best. Yeah, let's do our best. It's my fault, so I have no choice. Yeah, okay. I mean, kind of set yourself up. Then that's game. It's me, Mion Sonozaki, ranked first. And at last, Akechi Maibara and Reina Ryugu. Everyone applauded and the game ended. The problem now was the penalty. Now then, I ranked first, so I'll decide what you'll be buying for the gopher penalty. What will she make us buy? I wonder. Let's blacklist the drugstore. That was your aim, wasn't it? Huh? I don't have any business at the drugstore. This old man's already got a list prepared for you on this piece of paper. Whoa, there's a lot written here. A lot? Damn it, what is she making us buy? 2 blocks of tofu, shampoo and conditioner, apple vinegar and fried tofu. What the heck is this? Looks more like a shopping list than a penalty. Mia was certain she was going to win today. Rule 7 of our society. You cannot refuse any penalty. Here's some money. The shampoo I usually get is Fruit Fable. Thanks. This is just your grocery list. I promised myself that if I won next time, I'd make her go buy hemorrhoid cream. You've received new tips. There are more than 4 perpetrators? Search notice. Sleepy. Whoa, that was a really big yawn, Gagey-kun. I'm usually awake once it's time to eat, but it doesn't look like I can do it today. I was watching TV until late last night. I'm so tired right now. You and me both, Gagey. Was one of those raunchy TV shows you loved so much on last night? How extremely vile. Don't jump to conclusions, yeah, you guys. It's perfectly normal for boys. Nothing to be ashamed about. Rika not patting my head only made me feel worse. Yeah, I can see why. Could you just let me pass out this lunch break? No, seriously. My, you think I would just sit here and allow that? I'll get really angry if you disturb me. Really angry. This was just dreadful. Just so sleepy. I slumped my head onto the desk and drifted off into an afternoon nap. It seemed that Satoka had responded, but I pretended not to hear. Cut it out, Satoka-chan. Keiichi-kun fell asleep. His sleeping face. So cute. You can take him home later. Let him be for now. Let's move over there. It'd be rude to Keiichi if we bothered him now. Rika-chan really is a good girl. Let's not wake him up even if the teacher comes back. I take that back. The excuse I didn't sleep much last night because I was watching TV was a lie. I was in bed at the usual time, but because of the conversation with Oishi-san that afternoon, I didn't get much sleep. Just spending the day like this, it's almost as if the incident with Tomitake-san didn't happen at all. It made me think, was Oishi-san just trying to deceive me? But it was probably the truth. One thing was certain, I couldn't speak to anyone about it. He wanted my assistance, but I really didn't know anything about it. If I knew I wasn't going to be of any help, I probably would have listened in the first place. wouldn't have, sorry. It ended up with me, again, regretting learning something I didn't need to know. If I had never learned about it, I would, without a doubt, be goofing off with the rest of them right now. I couldn't help but resent Oishi-san for this. Huh? When was that? I heard he wasn't there the next day. It appears he vanished the night of Watanagashi. Mion whispered to keep others from listening, but I could hear her clearly. On the other hand, Reina's voice was even harder to pick up, but I could still tell that she was quite upset. It couldn't be. Are they talking about Tomitake-san? Itaki. Not sure. That's all I know. I would have to feign ignorance about this topic because I needed to keep it a secret. Rather than waking up and being forced to lie to join the conversation, it was much easier just to sit here and pretend I was asleep to listen in on their discussion. Wait. Why did I have to pretend to be asleep while eavesdropping on my friend's conversation? The guilt stung. So, I mean, there are others, right? Too? But they don't know if this... Yeah. But they don't know if it's from the curse or if this was an Onikakushi. Onikakushi? Onikakushi? To be hidden away by a demon? What a mysterious phrase. I did, however, get the feeling it meant nothing good. Yeah. Well, there was another, right? Right? If it's Oyashiro-sama's? Yeah. But, this year, at all? Grandma and the mayor had talked about it. Seems they talked to the police about it beforehand. They said they'd take care of whatever happens this year without causing a commotion. And then, without us knowing it, someone had them... You mean? Maybe. That could... me... I wonder. Don't worry. You got home safely. But it's not allowed, right? Hey Billy, hope you're well today. One thing I do need to say just before I go any further, if you bring up your age completely unsolicited, and this is not an invitation to say your age, but if you do bring it up, it will be a ban next time. All my mods know about it. I'm just giving you a heads up. I hope you're well today. We're just chilling with a visual novel today. It is V2VN Friday on a Saturday. It's only because I could only do a chunk of the stream yesterday, so I'm doing the other chunk today. So hope you're well today. Sit back, relax, enjoy the story. That was a long time ago. Yeah, we've already made pretty good progress into the story at this point. We're about, what, 7.5+ hours in? Almost 8 hours into the story, so... pretty much there's a series of deaths that happen after this festival called Watanagashi, and it's basically a purification of people's sins and stuff. But the garden deity that watches over Hidemizawa, the small town that we are in, the small village that we're in, yeah, it seems like the curse that's happening is going after the non-believers, because there was originally a dam project that got halted. The dam project was going to flood the village, and the village would have ceased to exist, so... Unfortunately, one of the people that we knew ended up being killed as well, and in a very gruesome way. So the other kids that we're with, they're talking about now while we are pretending to be asleep. But we found about it from the one of the police officers that's been heading up these investigations. So, all right, let's stop talking about this. Amidst the uncomfortable mood, both of them went silent. The entirety of the conversation was still a bit unclear, but a few parts caught my attention. First of all, the term onikakushi, to be demoned away. By the context it was used in, I would guess it's similar to being spirited away. I suspected that was what it meant because Tomitake-san and that woman, it really bugged me that I don't know her name, vanished after the Watanagashi. The next thing that stuck out was when Reina said, "There's another one, right?" Mion also said, "If it's Oyashiro-sama's?" "Yeah," responding to something. Oyashiro is the deity that protects the village. If it's Oyashiro-sama's curse, then there had to be 2 victims. Is that what she meant? Come to think of it, I remember Mion saying at the beginning that they didn't know if it was from the curse or if it was a case of onikakushi. It seems that the curse and being demoned away are different things, and they were phenomena that were paired together. I recall Tomitake-san's terrible end. That wasn't something as elegant as disappearing. That horrendous end would be best described as cursed. Then, the woman with him, it means she vanished because she was demoned away? What I do know is that there's normally an even number of victims of the curse proper. And the last point that bothered me was Reina. Reina was frightened. For what reason? I didn't know. However, she knew that something had made her a potential target for Yashiro-sama's curse. If I recall correctly, Yashiro-sama should be the garden deity of Hinamizawa. Isn't a garden deity supposed to defend the citizens and drive out invaders? If I recall correctly, yesterday Oishi-san said that originally the targets were enemies of the village, but recently there were no longer any distinction between them or regular outsiders. But if that was the case, then I would think that I'd be the more likely target, having moved here more recently than Reina. From her composure, I could infer that she was grimly certain that she would be next. I should probably relay what I heard just now to Oishi-san, informing the police of what I heard by eavesdropping on my friends while pretending to be asleep. It made me feel terrible. It raised a few questions and left me with a bad taste in my mouth. Would it be better not to seek the answers to those questions? As I continued to learn more and more, I felt like I had fallen past the point of no return. I would definitely regret this one day. I would definitely regret ever having learned of these events. A teacher approaches! Keiichi-san! You must awaken! In the distance, I could hear the ring of the handbell signaling the start of afternoon classes. Gah! I couldn't sleep at all! I hastily opened my eyes and raised my head up. It was in that moment when I leaned against the back of my seat. Ow! There was a thumbtack stuck on the back of my chair with tape. Circumstantial evidence was enough. Satoko! Guilty without trial. Capital punishment! I fiercely jumped up from my seat, and I tripped as if my feet were tangled up. My shoelaces had been tied together. Not bad, Satoko. While I was sleeping, you were able to conceal your presence and able to pull off this fine piece of work. The teacher came in right as I was about to pull off my shoes and tackle Satoko. Oh ho ho! Did you not notice that our teacher has arrived, Keiichi-san? Take your seat. Clonk, clonk, whoosh, woof. Not caring one bit, I made her eat a flick to the forehead. Keiichi-san is being mean. Hey, don't pick on the younger kids, my Barakun. Apologize to her. I saw Satoko stick her tongue out at me. That little brat. Come on, my Barakun. Yeah, I'll apologize. Sorry, Satoko-chan. In any case, I apologize, even if it was in a completely insincere tone of voice. Damn her. I'll remember this. Kei-chan, get your revenge at the club meeting. Take your seat. I sat down after Mion told me to. She'd switched to class representative mode. With the boring classes finished, school was finally over for the day. Now then, what should we do for our club today? Personally, I would like to play that deduction game one more time. I was hardly able to play it last time because of Oishi-san. Reina and I weren't even able to test out our strategy. That's right. Today, Keiichi-kun and I will be victorious. What should we do? We've never played the same game 2 days in a row before. Why not try asking me? Mion looked over her shoulder as we made eye contact. She slowly tapped her palm with her fist as her face suddenly lit up. Oops! I completely forgot. I need to go help my uncle today. Sorry guys, not today. Helping your uncle? Aren't you a little goody two-shoes? Sorry, really. I really did forget. Well then, sorry guys. This old man is heading back home now. Mion left us with that and rushed off to the exit after snatching up her bag. Bag. You see, Mi-chan, she sometimes goes to help out at her uncle's shop in town. Ah, I thought she wasn't the type to get caught up in such bothersome stuff. She said that she gets paid for it. It's quite a bit of spending money from what I hear. I see. She was able to pay for that mountain of games with what she saved up from there. But that... wouldn't you call that a part-time job? Isn't that against school policy? There's a clause that states family businesses are excluded. Is that what she's calling it? So, what now? Pass on the club today? So, we're done today, I guess. Won't it be fine even without the club president? Let's do this. I opened the club locker and began searching for the deduction game from that ever-growing pile of games. Ah, here it is. The deduction game from yesterday. Man, I had to stop just as I was getting the hang of it. At the very least, I wanted to repay Satoko for what she did during the afternoon break. I do not mind. But is that fine for Reina-san and Rika? If Keiichi-kun wants to so badly, I wouldn't mind playing for a bit. I think it's better if we do it when we have everyone together. when she says it like that... I wanted to go shopping if there wasn't a club meeting today. Going to buy soy sauce and other things. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. Well, I guess since it's been a while, I should go treasure hunting. What's this now? Everyone's no longer in the mood for club activities. If I kept on trying to push the matter, it may make them realize I had a trick up my sleeve. Ah, well, I'll give up this time. Man, I was really looking forward to playing it. I shuffled through the cards as if I was still caught up on it. At the next opportunity, I shall give you a sound thrashing. Oh ho ho. The murderer is Satoko. The murder weapon is the pistol. It was you after all. What did you say? No, just... Satoko looked through the cards on the desk and stuck out 3 of them at me. The murderer is Keiichi, in the lounge with the rope. I don't need no rope. I'll just strangle you like this. No! Keiichi-san is such a beast! Phew. Well, I guess it's good that I got that out of my system. I'll remember this, Keiichi-san. She was used as a plaything for quite a while. How unfortunate. Ah ha ha ha. Cute, cute. Everyone got ready to go back home. I also helped gather up the scattered cards. I suddenly paused. They were just the suspect cards, but I noticed something strange. Reina, Satoko, Rika, Keiichi, Mion, Satoshi. Not all the cards were made by us. Or, at least, every card besides this one has been the name of a club member. Does that mean that this Satoshi fellow is a member? Was there someone in class named Satoshi? I couldn't find anyone named Satoshi on the class roster stuck up on the wall. Keiichi-kun, let's hurry up and finish cleaning up. Being rushed by Rena, I finished quickly. Satoko and Rika-chan had already headed merrily for their lockers, so we were the only ones left in the classroom. Right now, Reina had already gotten her bag and was ready to leave. Reina, there must be quite a few people who transferred from the school, right? I tried asking Reina in a bit of a roundabout way. Reina made a troubled face and then answered. Yeah. Hinamizawa is a rural town, right? Some people transfer out every now and then. Then, is Satoshi another one of those transferees? Sorry, I don't really know. There was a bit of a pause, but the answer was pretty much immediate. Yeah, I'm not saying it to be mean. Just last year, I transferred in, so maybe I just missed him. So, I didn't hear much about him. Sorry. I'm not sure. Sorry. Her answer was a lot like when she refused to tell me about the murder at the dam. I was saddened by her denial and felt a little bit of anger. I'm their friend, aren't I? Friends don't keep secrets from their friends, do they? Though I do appreciate that they kept that unsettling curse thing from me. But if everyone is worried about it, I'd rather be worried with them. That's what it means to be friends, right? For a moment, I wondered just what kind of face I was making just then, with these mixed feelings of sadness and annoyance. Keiichi-kun, you're making a scary face. Why is it? Why? It was probably exactly the kind of face Raina said it was. It appeared my grim expression had frightened her. Ah, sorry. I was really looking forward to the club today. I'm just feeling down about it. I rustled Raina's hair. Let's go home. Dragging that awkward mood with us, we headed home. Oh, I'm so sorry. Oh, excuse me. Speaking of lack of sleep, oh man. I wonder why. Why have I been getting this dumb feeling lately? I didn't know anything. I had nothing to worry about. I was just enjoying my everyday life. My long, outstretched shadow gave no answer to my naive inquiry. Keiichi-kun, are you tired, maybe? Maybe? Reina timidly questioned the reason behind my mood. I'm sure my expression made the situation even more unsettling. You think so? Yeah. You seem to have been a little out of it ever since this morning. Maybe a cold? Physically, I was pretty sure I was in perfect health. It may not seem like it, but I've had perfect attendance since elementary school. Raina continued on since I didn't give her an answer. It could be that the fatigue from moving has finally caught up to you. It's completely different from where you used to live, after all. Of course, you've gotten tired, since there's so much you need to get used to and remember. Maybe that's it. Yeah, has to be. Raina was also like that at first, too. I can tell, you know? You know? I wondered if Raina also experienced a slight bit of alienation last year that I was feeling right now. Thinking so, I felt that she was the only one who could understand how I felt. I'd like to hear about when you first came to Hinamizawa. How was it? Feeling I had been drawn into the conversation, her face suddenly brightened. It was the same as Keiichi-kun. I didn't know the villagers' names at all. Michan and the rest were all very kind, so I wasn't lonely, but I did still feel a little out of place. Reno told me all the details of when she had moved here. All of her first acquaintances and surprises, worries, and good times. So, Satoka got you too? Yeah, there was a thumbtack put on my chair. Poke. And with that, Yeah, that really takes me back. When were you invited into the club? The first day? Nah, there wasn't a club at the beginning. It was formed partway through. One day, she said we should stay after and hold a big game tournament. Come to think of it, Mion did say she was the first club president. Now I get it. This is a secret, but Mi-chan used to be really bad at the beginning. She'd never win. Huh? Mion, really? I can't even imagine that. She had to do most of the penalties that she came up with. Seriously, don't tell. I can't believe Mion was like that. So, she gradually transformed into a monster who used any means necessary to win during that time. Mion is at her best when she's fighting dirty. I began making more friends besides Mi-chan after that. But, yeah. It might have only been since you moved here that I'd finally felt like I had gotten used to it here. I guess Reina had also been left in the dark about Oyashiro-sama when she had just moved here. I guess when they finally told me about Oyashiro-sama, I'd be considered one of them. I wonder when I'll finally be considered one of them. Huh? Did you say something? No, sorry. Just talking to myself. Ah ha ha ha. Keiichi-kun, you're silly. Reina was poking fun and laughing at me, and I couldn't help but laugh as well. But I suddenly stopped, and after making up my mind, I spoke. Hey, Reina? Is there something that everybody is keeping from me? Huh? No, not at all. You're lying, aren't you? Reina suddenly stopped. Her expression was cold and intense. What do you mean by that, Keiichi-kun? Her tone was still the same cheery and light-hearted one as before. You are, aren't you? Keeping something from me. After understanding what I meant, her expression grew even more intense. Seeing that face, I regretted saying something so rash, but she came back at me in a way I didn't expect. Well then, Keiichi-kun, aren't you keeping something from us? Huh? Her tone didn't change, but it was the first time I'd seen this expression from Reina. With how her gaze pierced through me, I couldn't believe this was the same Reina. Aren't you? Lies are secrets, aren't you? You are. Secrets. She didn't actually say that part, but she looked as if she did. The incident with Tomitake-san, and how I felt alienated from the group. Even without having to think about it, there were things I knew that I felt guilty about. But I didn't tell everyone about what happened with Tomitake-san to be considerate. I was keeping it a secret just the same way they didn't tell me about Yashiro-sama. Then, aren't we even? No, I'm not. No lies, nor secrets. Liar. Her answer was instant, and it shook me. Reina stared as if burrowing through me, watching me like a hawk. Why would you say I'm lying? Didn't you say that you were called into the teacher's room yesterday during the club meeting, Keiichi-kun? I know. You didn't go to the teacher's room. I swallowed hard. It clearly wasn't a bluff. She knew what happened. The teacher said you had a guest, didn't she? But you didn't talk at the entrance. You talked inside of the car near the school gate. With some man we don't know. Reina knew everything. She knew that I was called out by Oishi-san, and I had heard about the incident with Tomitake-san as well. Did she know all of it? Exactly who was that man? I don't know him. Why did someone you don't know have business with you? I want to know that myself. Then what did you talk about? It has nothing to do with you guys. It was a lie. Lies! Reina's scream echoed through the trees, sending frightened birds into the air. I couldn't exhale the deep breath I had just taken. No. It was like I wasn't allowed to exhale. It was here I first realized. The person in front of me. She wasn't Reina Ryugu. Then, who was it that was standing before me now? had assumed Reina Ryugu's appearance. I'd held my breath for so long, I could feel myself suffocating. Right? And then she made a facial expression that Reina normally might have made. It didn't matter. That was Reina's usual smile. It chilled me to the bone. She drew closer to me. I felt her breath against my face. It wasn't the least bit exciting. Whoever this was with Reina's face was going to choose my nose right off. I cowered as I imagined that. Then, she smirked as if she was able to see right through me. We also have secrets, just like how Keiichi-kun has secrets. It was Reina's usual smile. But her eyes were still like that of a hawk's. Bringing her face close enough to mine to almost bump into my nose, she kindly persuaded me. I couldn't nod or shake my head. This person standing in front of me, this person who looked like Reina, frightened me to my core. I was terrified knowing that she could hear the sound of me swallowing nervously. After what felt like an eternity, after a long empty silence, she finally spoke. Let's go. It's getting chilly. It was Reina again. Smiling at me once more, she started walking as if nothing at all had happened. When I was released from her gaze, my legs gave up from under me and I slumped onto the ground. I wasn't able to lift a finger until Reina was out of sight. Who was that? I felt cold. My body was drenched in sweat. I was finally able to form a coherent thought and ask myself once again, who was that person who looked like Reina Ryugu? Ooh, Reina getting possessed. Possesta Ryugu. Do. Oh, excuse me. I'm just trying to give myself some kind of caffeine because I kind of need it. Alright. That should be more than enough. I was out of it and couldn't bring myself to do anything until dinner except stare blankly into space. I was terrified from Reina going off on me. No, that's not right. That was someone else who only looked like Reina. Then, who could it have been? Reina was being possessed, it seems like. It was a dreadful feeling. Knowing that was someone else, not Reina. So tomorrow, I shouldn't have a problem talking to Reina like I usually do. That thought was strangely comforting. I concluded that I should just calm down and clear my head. Though those thoughts continued swirling around my mind. Finally, I returned to my senses as I heard my mother calling out to me from the bottom of the steps. Keiichi! It's a call from the bookstore. Bookstore? Can't think of why they'd be calling me. I went downstairs and picked up the receiver anyway. My apologies for calling so late at night. It's me, Oishi of the Okinomiya bookshop. Oishi-san? Oh, it's Oishi-san. Sorry, since your parents picked up, I said I was from the bookstore. Puts people off when I say I'm a police officer. Excuse me, sorry. Oishi-san was, in his own way, rather courteous. Even so, I didn't want my parents hearing me talk to the police. I brought the cordless phone with me as I dashed back up to my room on the second floor. Sorry for calling so late. That phone number on the piece of paper I gave you yesterday was the old number. My apologies. Can you copy down the number I'm about to give you? Yeah. Okay. He gave me the number for his direct line as I wrote it down. I thought that was the end of it, but he began making pointless small talk, and it was pretty hard to hang up. So, how has it been, Maibara-san? Did anything strange happen recently? I see. This was the real reason. He really beat around the bush there. His adult conversational skills left me slack-jawed. Are you from around here, Oishi-san? Yeah, I am. Born and raised in Okinomiya. If he's from around here, he might know. Oishi-san, do you know what this Onikakushi thing is about? I believe that's when somebody suddenly vanishes because they've been abducted by a demon. It's a special saying from around here. It has the same meaning as spirited away like everyone else says. Whereas my friends would say they didn't know when I asked, this older man gave me a direct answer. Maybe a bit happy that he answered me directly without trying to hide anything. Hinamizawa was... not sure if I should tell you this, Maibara-san. Don't try to play this off. If you're not going to talk, then I'm not going to tell you anything. No. That's not what I meant. It's just... it may make you feel bad. You see, long ago, Hinamizawa was feared as a village where demons reside. Demons? By demons, you mean those pitchfork-carrying things in hell? More like human-eating monsters. They go down to the villages, snatching people up and gobbling them down. That kind of tale. Demons snatching up people is what this Onikakushi really means. They said that the curse and being demoned away happened together. What does that mean? I already knew about the mysterious deaths happening 5 years in a row. But I didn't know there were people disappearing for those same 5 years. The curse and being demoned away happened together? First time I've heard of that. Is that how it is, Maibara-san? That's what I want to know. I heard Reina and Mion talking. They said if it was really Oyashiro-sama's curse, then both the curse and the demoning away would happen. Oishi-san began hemming and hawing on the other end of his receiver. Maybe something about that came to mind? Maibara-san, do you know the first incident? The murder by dismemberment? Yeah. One of the 6 perpetrators is still on the run, right? Hypothetically, what if he isn't on the run, but was demoned away? Huh? It was an outrageous hypothesis from Hoishi-san. The incident 4 years ago was the particularly ghastly one. The police already knew the perpetrators, and so they posted tons of wanted posters with their face on them. They staked out various locations and investigated every possible escape route he had. But after 4 years, there wasn't even a hint of where he might be. Unless the police were completely incompetent. Even if it was an outrageous hypothesis, I couldn't simply laugh it off. Then, what about the incident the next year? When the man who supported the project and his wife both died in an accident? Well, actually, it was only the husband who died in an accident. His wife's body never surfaced. unless we find the body, then it's considered a missing person by law. At the same time of the incident, with the river below the cliff being muddy rapids, the police divers had searched every branch off the main stream of the river for dozens of miles, but in the end, they weren't able to find her body. But that's just them not being able to find the body. She's still dead, right? Isn't it different from her being demoned away? We cannot say someone is dead without their body. Until a certain number of years pass, by law, she's treated as still alive. I'm not sure if it was right to call that being demoned away. The wife is missing. At least that part was reality. How about the third year? The Shinto priest died of illness. And his wife committed suicide? My Baro-san. That's actually the exact same scenario. The wife had supposedly thrown herself into the bottomless marsh deep in the forest around Hinamizawa. Meaning it's all circumstantial evidence. They simply found her suicide note in front of the marsh. Diver was able to recover a few remnants, but they weren't able to find a body. The investigative headquarters believed that she had faked her death and was still alive somewhere. Leo, welcome in. Hope you're doing well. Thank you so much for the 2,000 points to VTube Friday. Hope you're doing well today. We're officially at 90%. Next person that puts in another 2,000 is going to be the lucky duck to get us to 69k out of the 75. Oh, I ate too much. Also, I feel really tired, but otherwise I'm doing good. Hope you're doing well. A group of us almost got the 5 wins in a row in Fall Guys. We were so close. We got to the final round and just couldn't win it. No, did we even make it to the final round? I actually don't think we made it to the final round. I can't remember. We did. It was fall ball, and literally, like, so we had the pendulum ball blocking the nets, and we could have had like 3 goals if it wasn't for the pendulum thing. And then they scored in the golden goal point. So, but honestly, the playlist, the squad group playlist, that's the special squad playlist, it's all team games. That's gonna be our best bet if we can find a full squad of 4 to try to get the 5 win streak, honestly. All right. I already read that. I'm not sure if we could call these cases as being demoned away. It's just as you've said. Every year, one person does go missing. The incident this year, the woman with Tomitake-san has gone missing. Then what about the incident with the housewife beaten to death? Who went missing? I believe the perpetrator was caught, right? Yeah, we arrested him. He was just a miscreant with a record of narcotics abuse. He admitted to the crime while being questioned about a different incident. But, well, you see, after he was arrested, a child from the victim's home went missing. It's still under investigation as to whether the disappearance had anything to do with the crime. But you said you caught him, right? Did he have an accomplice? No idea. It's considered a separate case. Moreover, we can't even check now. Because while under investigation, that man, he died in his holding cell. He swallowed a spork and choked to death. It's not known whether it was an accident or suicide. Meaning, for the last 5 years, it's always one person who dies and one who goes missing? That's about right. No, actually, I'm surprised as well. I never realized they had that in common. I couldn't believe that this could help lead to the closing of those incidents. It was just something they had in common. Could it be that those seem in a way have something in common? Oishi-san mumbled as he seemed to be thinking about it. So I summarized the events. The first year was the dam employee. The second year was the wife of a dam project supporter. Third year was the wife of the Shinto priest. Fourth year was the victim's family's child. And the fifth year was the victim's girlfriend, I guess. It doesn't seem like there's anything that connects them. With the exception of the first year, wives and girlfriends, those do stand out. It does seem like there are a lot. Then that means the fourth year's victim's child was different. It would have really stood out if it were all married couples, except it's not just married couples, but parents and children as well. Come to think of it, I believe Tomitake-san also told me the younger brother is alive and had moved, if I recall recently correctly. Wow. The child that went missing in the fourth year, who were they? Apparently, he was quite mature. 1 year older than you. His name was Satoshi Hojo-san. Oh no! We just found out about Satoshi because of the deduction game we were playing. He was on one of the cards. Oh no. Huh? Satoshi? I remembered that name. Didn't they tell me Satoshi transferred out last year? He was at your school up until last year. Didn't they tell you anything about him? Come to think of it, when I transferred in, I believe they said my seat belonged to a recent transfer student. Then, where I sat, once belonged to one who was steaming away? It was his seat? I recalled the cold sensation that came from that desk. It made my hair stand on end. This string of mysterious deaths, no. Oyashiro-sama's curse. I now knew how it connected to me. That chilling of sensation. It was the feeling of Oyashiro-sama caressing the back of my neck. Oyashiro-sama's curse. Huh? Could Oyashiro-sama's curse really exist? In all honesty, I was beginning to believe it. And I was scared. That was why I wanted to say it was the plot crafted by man and not the work of a curse. But the more I dug into it, the less likely that seemed. No. The more I dug, the more mysterious it became. If I kept digging, eventually, I'd reached a point where I'd learned something I really shouldn't know. To either be none the wiser or to seek an answer I may regret. Which one would I be happier with? Maybe it'll be me next time. My execution could only be delayed for 1 year. That was when I remembered. Reina. Reina said she may be the next victim of the curse. You mean Reina Ryugu-san? She transferred in last year and she's your classmate, isn't she? These incidents really might be a bit too disturbing for a girl. She's not just scared, is she? It wasn't that. She said it might be her next. She said it in a way that made me think she had a concrete reason behind it. It felt like she was convinced. Almost as if, you could say she was frightened. Her sudden change in demeanor. That someone who looked like Reina, but wasn't Reina, that might be unrelated. All the strange things I felt from Rain today came back to me. I see. Then I'll be doing a bit of investigating on this end. Please continue your observations of Ryuga-san, my brother-san. Are you asking me to keep Rain under surveillance? That's not what I mean, my brother-san. I just want you to watch out for your friend so she doesn't end up the next victim. At that moment, just as my mouth was agape, because I was so impressed with his mature, clever way with words. Knock, knock. A sudden knock at the door sent my heart racing. In an instant, I had pointlessly covered up the end of the receiver. Keiichi, get the door, please. On the other side of the door, I heard my father's oddly upbeat voice. What could it be? It's so late. Sorry, my dad just came in. Can we leave it at this for tonight? Yeah. My apologies again for calling so late. If you find out anything else, please let me know. I'll tell you if I make any progress on this end. Well then, have a pleasant evening. Keiichi, hurry and open up. Daddy's got his hands full. What is Dad doing? I had stayed in the same position while on the phone the whole time, so my joints were aching. When I opened the door, I saw my father was standing there with a tray. On that tray, cookies and 2 cups of black tea, a fairly fancy spread for our household. There was even sugar and lemon slices on the side. Everything you could ask for. This was quite the show of hospitality. What's going on, Dad? What's all this for? Come now, don't play around, Keiichi. I'm coming in. Dad was in high spirits and had a smirk on his face, but for my entire life, I've never seen him act this hospitable. What had gotten into him? So, what were you talking about? I jumped. It's not something I had to keep from my father. But how could I explain to him I was talking to a detective, I'm assuming he was, this late at night? Nothing much. Just a friend. I don't mean on the phone. She was here, wasn't she? Reino-chan. Huh? She wasn't here? Come now, don't try to keep it from me. She just came over to play. You two were chatting away, so I thought I'd bring some tea, but looks like I just missed her. I had no idea what Dad was talking about, but a cold sweat dripped down my back. How long were we talking? Reina-chan went upstairs about half after, so it was close to an hour, I guess. You saw her come up to the 2nd floor? Yeah, I did. I also told her that your room was the door down the hall up the stairs. Reina came to my house about an hour ago. Dad met her at the door and called out to me on the 2nd floor. I probably didn't hear him because I was so focused on my conversation with Oishi-san. I didn't reply, but he knew I was in my room, so he had her come inside. Then told her my room was on the 2nd floor. She thanked my dad and went upstairs. Then, about an hour passed. She passed by my dad just as he was bringing up tea and left. She came upstairs, and about an hour had passed. Then passed by my dad and returned home. Then, after she came upstairs, until she left, where was Reina? There's only a short hallway between my room and the stairs. Meaning, Reina had for about an hour in the hall. No. She couldn't have been standing in front of my door all that time. The door to my room wasn't particularly thick. You could easily hear everything being said inside. All the ominous things and all the nonsense I spoke to Oishi-san about began rushing through my head. Honey, don't tease him. More importantly, you need to clean up your studio. It's a mess again. Mom yelled at Dad from downstairs. Dad left the tray with me and went downstairs with the disappointed chortle. I followed my dad out of the room with my eyes. I looked down at the floor around the doorway where Raina might have stood all that time. Just now, as I was talking to Oishi-san, with my back turned, Raina was standing a mere 6 feet away. The whole time? All that time, in this dimly lit doorway? What did she see? What did she hear? For what reason? As the steam from the 2 teacups ominously wafted and twisted, the aroma of black tea filled my room. Oh, excuse me. Raina's getting freaky. Notice from the police chief. New tip. Alright, let us do a save. And we will continue on. Weariness and a headache. Not a very nice way to start the day. What's wrong? Keiichi, you don't look so well. When did you go to sleep? It seemed that my mom had noticed my sullen state. Yesterday, I kept on waking up in the middle of the night. Without a doubt, I felt a presence. I felt the presence of someone standing in front of my door. I told myself repeatedly that it was my imagination and forced myself to try and sleep. Except, not being able to stand it, I gathered up my courage and opened the door. Of course, there wasn't anyone there. I think I did this 3 times throughout the night. Or maybe I just didn't remember doing it any more than that. Even though I was able to get to the breakfast table without incident, I still didn't feel at ease. It might be a cold. I don't really have an appetite. My, you do seem a little warm. Well, can you make it to school? Technically, I did go to a school, but it was mostly self-study. It wouldn't matter much if I missed a day, would it? It could have been that I hadn't been feeling well for the last few days because I really did have a cold. If I took some medicine and got a good day of rest, I might be able to greet everyone with a smile tomorrow. Startled, I looked back and forth between the entrance and the clock. It was 10 minutes later than when I usually met up with Raina. It was Raina. Raina-chan came to get you. What are you going to do? Are you going to take the day off? Raina was a good girl. She might be somewhat quirky, but she was certainly cute. The lunches she had made were delicious, and she always looked out for me. Why should I be so scared of something like that? It wasn't Raina's fault. It was probably mine. It had to have been my cold. It just had to be. I'll rest. Sorry. Then I'll go send her off for you. Mom headed off to the door. I would have to pass by the entrance to get back to my room. I didn't have the nerve to meet with Raina, so I rubbed myself in a blanket on the sofa and closed my eyes. I was so sleep deprived I quickly fell into a deep slumber. A nap sounds so good right now. I had only intended to lie down for a bit, but it was almost noon when I woke up. I called out to my parents, but they didn't seem to be around. On the table, I found lunch prepared and a note. Mom and Dad had apparently driven off to somewhere far away. It likely had to do with Dad's work. This happened every so often, so it wasn't that unusual. They would probably be back sometime after dinner. On the note, it said, "Your insurance card is in the cabinet. Take it and go to the hospital." There was also a well-drawn map to the hospital. That's right. I hadn't been there before, so I didn't know exactly where it was. I had a light lunch, although it really was just leftovers from the morning, and just in case, went to the hospital. "They'll fix you up, Kei-chan." Normally, I'd never be here in the middle of a weekday. Oh, just walking around like this had me feeling guilty. It was an odd feeling. Following my mom's map, I took a road I usually never used. After walking for a bit, the hospital sign came into view. Irie Clinic was written rather stylishly on the sign. The clinic wasn't very big, but based on the scale of the rest of Hinamizawa, it was far too grand. There was a parking lot and even a reserved spot for buses. They must be making a mint. I spaced out in the air-conditioned waiting room until it was my turn to be seen. "Maibara-san, please make your way to the examination room." After properly answering all of the chatty doctor's questions, he responded with the old, "It's probably a cold." He gave me a shot and 3 days worth of medicine. I thought it was a little overboard, but if it would clear away the gloomy feeling I'd been having lately, then it was worth it. I settled the bill and took a quick trip to the washroom. As I was leaving, I overheard a conversation between some elderly people who seemed to be regulars at the clinic. Of course, I had no intention of eavesdropping. If it just wasn't for that word. Must have been an Onikakushi. I wonder. She was still pretty young. Might have just eloped. With whom? That man from Tokyo who visits every season. That young one with that big camera. Didn't you know they were getting along pretty well? Were they talking about Tomitake-san? I could feel my ears perking up. I don't know about that, but you have to make preparations before you elope. Even know or quit their job or something. It's an elopement because they didn't leave a note or message. Yeah, duh. The thought that I'll never see that young nurse's face again makes me rather sad. Takano-san is an upstanding young woman. She'll be fine wherever she goes. So, her name was Takano-san. That woman with Tomitake-san. And she worked at this clinic? Oyashiro-sama's shadow was following me everywhere I went. Started listening more closely, but they began talking about fishing, and it didn't seem like they were going to revisit the topic. I gave up and left. Thus, even though I was separated from the daily monotony at school, I wasn't able to escape from Oyashiro-sama's shadow. But of course. Oyashiro-sama was the guardian deity of this place, of Hinamizawa. As long as I was in Hinamizawa, I wouldn't be able to escape. Maybe it was because I was walking outside, but my appetite had suddenly returned. I might as well buy a snack with the change from the examination fee on the way home. Contemplating that, I turned onto a familiar street. At that moment, I heard a car horn abruptly honk behind me. Was I really walking so far into the middle of the road where I'd be in a car's way? Moved farther off to the side, but the horn was still honking at me. I turned around, peeved. Maibara-san! Good day to you. It was Oishi-san. He stepped out of his car, AC on full blast, and waved at me. What's up today? School on break? Just not feeling well, so I took the day off. I was about to buy lunch and then head back home. That's great. I'm just about to get lunch myself. Would you mind going together? Yeah, if you're not feeling up for it, then don't mind me. I was just going to lie down after going home anyway. And I didn't really have a cold. I doubt you'd want to eat one of those local places. Let's go into town. It's a bit of a drive. Is that alright? I know a pretty good place. I'd finally begun to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying things. He probably wanted to talk to me about stuff that would be difficult to discuss while in Hinamizawa. I went with Oishi-san, riding in his frigid car. It was almost as if the bright sunlight outside was a lie. I'm sorry about calling you so late last night. Did your parents get angry at you? No. I recalled Reina, who had been listening to the phone conversation all that time, separated from me by just the door. Even now, in the brightness of the sunlight, the thought still creeped me out. With a big bump that jolted the car, the road connecting the city changed from dirt to pavement. I had to level that with a sudden realization. That's right. This was where Tomitake-san died. They've hit a snag on the investigation regarding Tomitake-san. Oishi-san spoke while peering at me from the corner of his eye. It believed it was caused by hallucinogens, given how he was clawing out his own throat. But a drug that could cause that to happen so suddenly is extremely hard to come by. Bear in mind, of course, the autopsy was done by that premise in mind, but we didn't find any leads. You know that thing you see in comics all the time? Where there's a drug that if you put it in them, it doesn't leave any traces? It exists. Succinylcholine something or other. Well, it's pretty common. But you see, it doesn't seem to be any kind of drug that would cause Tomitake-san to react like that. Then, you're saying the police concluded Tomitake-san just died from the curse? I couldn't help but feel that the police were worthless. I just wanted the idea of the curse to be dissociated from Tomitake-san's mysterious death. Unfortunately, that's how it looks right now. But putting aside the cause of death, without a doubt he was surrounded by a group of people and had taken a beating before he died. That was no curse, but an incident that unquestionably involved other humans. That made me feel a bit relieved. Oh man, I feel so tired. I feel really off right now. I definitely overeat. And the fact that I'm so tired doesn't help. We passed in front of the rather desolate but still busier than Hinamizawa train station. The car pulled into a restaurant parking lot and I followed Oishi-san into the shop. It was pretty crowded, but there were only adults at this hour. Of course, there wouldn't be children in here in the middle of a weekday. 2, please. Non-smoking. This way, please. When you're ready to order, please call me over. We were led by a peculiarly dressed waitress to our table. I sat with Oishi-san in the booth. So, what do you think? Aren't the waitress's outfits here cute? Huh? Well, I guess. His shop is always quite busy. It's more about the waitresses than the food, you see. Uh-huh. Oishi-san, you're leering. Am I really? Regardless of how the waitresses looked, the food was decent enough. Finishing our meals while talking about some inane topic, Uishi-san's after-meal cup of coffee arrived at the table. Yesterday, we talked about Hinamizawa's past, didn't we? Yeah, that it was a village of man-eating demons or something like that. I didn't know much about it myself, so I asked my grandmother about it this morning. Oishi-san took out the notepad that was stuffed into his breast pocket. Turns out that Hinamizawa used to be called Onigafuchi, or Ogre's Abyss. Onigafuchi. That's quite the name. The name is still around. The marsh where the Shinto priest's wife drowned herself is still called Ogre's Abyss. It's said that the depths of that marsh connect to the realms of demons. Of course, nobody had told me anything about such an ominous marsh. And you see, it appears they were both feared and revered. Respect born of fear. I guess you could say it was a kind of deification. A village of inhuman creatures. Seems the demons were senin, or mountain-dwelling mystics of sorts, taking villagers with incurable illnesses into the Ogre's Abyss and healing them, for example. Even if we are calling them demons, Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or senin would be Tengu, long-nosed goblins, or senin would be a more apt description. Stop right-clicking? They don't seem like such terrible people, even though they were called demons. But they were still man-eating demons, according to the story that my grandma told me. As payment for treating their son's illness, let us eat the mother who brought him here, was apparently how things went. The price of curing her son was herself? That's unsettling. Of course, the mother took her son and ran. Then, you see, all the people who lived in Onigafuchi, the demons chased them down, rounded them up, and captured them. The entire village, apparently. That's quite a frightening thing to imagine. In the end, it seems both the mother and son were caught and eaten. The end. There's a problem with this story. Both witnesses in the story were eaten, so nobody would be able to tell the tale. Huh? Well, there are plenty of old fables like this. In contrast to the ghastly tale, Oishi-san laughed heartily while sipping his coffee. But, well, there are quite a few other tales, where the demons from Onigafuchi band together to capture their prey. I recall that Mion said all the villagers united and fought against the dam's construction. I saw similarities with how that part about unification overlapped. Normally they hunted down a single person, and they chose who it was going to be beforehand. Huh? That caught my attention. Oishi-san also appeared to be pondering what it meant. My grandmother told me that you must never interfere with the demon's hunt. You should just hole up in your house and hide under the covers, she said. So, what does this all mean? It means you mustn't ever help or protect the prey. As long as you don't disturb the demon's hunt, no harm will fall upon the villagers. It seems there's that kind of rule. Basically, don't help the victims. Pretend you didn't see the atrocities, in other words. What happens if you break the rule? Well, they're man-eating demons after all. Many parts of that tale caught my attention. Parts of the story he told me overlapped with his theory that the perpetrators were all village families. Even if it wasn't the whole village, it was conceivable that the villagers were hiding under the covers and leaving them to die when there's a group that was on their hunt, wasn't it? I didn't dare speak it. Then, Oishi-san, I guess it looks like either the village families or a group of villagers perpetrating the crimes. What do you think, Maibara-san? Ah, excuse me. Another cup of coffee, please. That's what I wanted to know. It seemed that we were both waiting for the other to say that last part. I waited for the waitress to finish pouring the coffee before speaking. Last year, I had a nagging feeling when Satoshi-kun disappeared. Oishi-san muttered as he watched the milk swirl around in his coffee. So, those friends of Satoshi-san. Meeting your group of friends, my Rara-kun. I had a bit. Really, just a little bit, okay? A background check and done on them. If Oishi-san had said this to me before, I would have been furious since he told me earlier not to suspect my friends. But as I was now, I couldn't. This might sound pretty stupid. My Bara-san. If you feel that stupid, please say so. I'll just stop. Oishi-san was wearing the most serious expression that I'd ever seen from him. It was as if he was telling me to prepare myself and listen. There were quite a few things I regretted hearing from Oishi-san, but none of them were as threatening as this. The little voice inside me was screaming like an alarm. Stop, Keiichi. This was probably the last one. Took a deep breath and silenced that voice. I would not run from the truth. Please. That was all I could utter. Oishi-san stared into my eyes silently for a few moments. After he was certain I was ready, he began. The victim in the incident of the first year was the overseer. A few weeks prior, he had an altercation with Mion Sonozaki-san. Multiple altercations. Oishi-san had said before that Mion had defied the dam project vehemently. Well, it wasn't hard to imagine how she'd be if she got worked out. In the second year, the married couple who supported the project died in that accident, right? They had a daughter. Her name is Satoko Hojo-san. Huh? Satoko meaning Satoko? Oishi-san's look told me that my voice was too loud. I realized it as well and quickly quieted down. The Shinto priest and his wife who died in the third year. You see, their daughter is Rika Furude-san. Rika-chan was the housewife who died in the fourth year. You already know, don't you? It was the step-aunt of Satoko Hojo-san. She was in her aunt and uncle's custody, as she had lost both of her parents in the accident. She lived in the victim's house. I could tell my lips were getting dry. I didn't even have the wits to keep my mouth from hanging agape. I thought it was nothing but a bizarre incident, one that I could easily distance myself from. But clicking and clacking, it had snuck all the way to my feet. The one who disappeared the fourth year, by the way, he was Satoko-san's older brother. What? Wait, just a second. Took everything I had to finally say that. Gulped down a glass of water, and once again wiped my face with the napkin. Calm down, Keiichi Maibara. But Oishi-san was relentless. Instead of waiting for me to finish sorting out my feelings, he started speaking again. The last of the things I shouldn't have heard. All the victims seem to be connected to your group of friends. That it has to be just a coincidence. Maibara-san, keep it down. Everyone's looking. Mion? Satoko? Rika-chan? So, what if they're connected? You tell me all my friends? It couldn't be. It just couldn't be. Oh, Reina is different, isn't she? Reina isn't connected with the victims at all. Reina Ryugu-san was living in a suburb of Ibaraki Prefecture until last year. Well, it's true she hadn't directly met any of the victims, he said in a roundabout way. Is he saying she's also connected? Actually, I looked into her. Before Ryugu-san moved away to Hinamizawa, she was suspended from school. It seems she went through her school building and broke all of the windows. But Reina did that? She broke all the windows at her school? That same silly Reina had. I couldn't even imagine it. It seems that after her 3-day suspension, she didn't return to school. She went to a neurologist and was diagnosed with dysautonomia. She was given weeks of counseling and medication. I wonder if it was something like a nervous breakdown. I heard that happens to people who are really methodical or overly sensitive. Neither of those matched Reina's easygoing personality. And in the counselor's medical report, he recorded all the conversations he had with Reina-san. It shows up. And quite a bit at that. What did? I pressed forward carelessly. There couldn't be anything more for me to regret. She mentioned the word Oyashiro-sama. I felt like someone's stone-cold hands caressing my back. Why had Reina spoken of Oyashiro-sama before she even came to Hinamizawa? It seems that the Oyashiro-sama she spoke of was like a ghost, appearing in her house every night, standing over her pillow, looking down at her. My mind froze. I couldn't process what I was being told. A while after that, she moved to Hinamizawa. That's right. She's not an outsider. Huh? According to the residency register, the Yugu family used to reside in Hinamizawa. Reina-san moved to Ibaraki right after she finished elementary school. My mind went completely blank. It was similar to the static you'd see on a blank TV channel. My ears began ringing as I lost all sense of comprehension. Maibara-san, are you alright? Shall we stop? Those words brought me back. I couldn't let it end here. Now I understand Reina. Then, how about the last victim, Tomitake-san? Who is he connected with? Irritated, I let out one final reprisal. All of them. Have you forgotten Maibara-san? Didn't you all spend the night of the festival together quite merrily? Quite a few of the officers saw you enjoying yourselves. Now, there was nothing I could respond with. I felt silent as my brain turned to mush. That's what my brain's doing right now. We should get going. Maibara-san, did you take your afternoon medicine? I'd completely forgotten about the medicine I had gotten today until Oishi-san said that. I got another glass of water, and we left the shop after I chugged it down. We got in the car and returned to Hinamizawa via the rough road. I never really paid attention when I was on my bike, but did cars normally shake this much? It was almost as if the road was desperately trying to tell me something. A big jolt was from the difference in elevation of the road when it changed from cement to dirt. I was certain I heard Tomitake-san scream. I sat in silence, letting myself be shaken by the car. I'll drop you off at your house. You missed school because you were ill, correct? My apologies for the long conversation. Why did you talk to me? I blurted out the question. Really, just blurted it out. I didn't expect an answer. I did check with you first, didn't I? But we should just stop. Not that. Why did you reach out to me? I understood quite well that Oishi-san was investigating a string of suspicious incidents. But why was he telling me all this? I knew nothing, and I couldn't help. Everything Oishi-san spoke of was news to me. First of all, what could I, having just moved here, know? By chance, if there was a reason for Oishi-san to reach out to me, then it would have to be that I looked suspicious to Oishi-san. As I was a part of Mion's circle of friends. I'm retiring this year. I plan on moving away after retiring as my grand romance. So while I'm still on the case, I want to bring the truth behind this incident to light. So, Oishi-san, you suspect them, don't you? All of them. Oishi-san didn't really give a response. I felt a little late, but I thought it was his way of showing a bit of consideration for my feelings. This is mostly my intuition from 30 years on this job. Maibara-san, you're the one in danger. Huh? Went to reply with, "That was absurd," but in my downtrodden state, I couldn't bring myself to say it. I'll be retiring this year, so I won't be at the Watanagashi next year. So I want to settle things. In other words, he was insinuating that on the Watanagashi, on the next Watanagashi, I might be the victim. I've been warned by the chief as well. Each incident in the string of cases has been solved, so don't bring it up again. Or so I was told. This is the pressure that I'm facing. Pressure? What? Someone in Hinamizawa. We've arrived. Is this fine? After some time, the car finally reached the path to my house. The clock read 2 p.m. I was surprised so little time had passed since we ate. It was hot outside the car. The chirping of the Higurashi hurt my ears. I won't mind if you just forgot everything I told you today, but I'm still going to keep investigating. I'll end Oyashiro-sama's curse this year. So, you're saying I should contact you if anything happens? It's fine. Just contact me when you feel you have to, Maibara-san. I wasn't collected enough to understand Oishi-san's roundabout way of saying it. Be sure to take it easy. I'm sorry for throwing all this at you while you're taking the day off because you're sick. I didn't really give any sort of response. I'll always be on your side. If anything, believe that. I'll be off now. The tires crunched over the dirt road as the car made a U-turn and disappeared into a cloud of kicked-up dust. Felt like I was watching a boat only throw me as lifesaver in shark-infested waters before disappearing into the distance. That was the first time I thought Oishi-san was being unfair. Tell me I was going to be the next victim, and just saying to contact him if something happened. This wasn't a criminal investigation. He was fishing. And I was just the bait dangling off the line. Would the fish be the perpetrator? Was it really just Oyashiro-sama's curse? Either way, the bait would be swallowed whole. Damn it! I don't want to die. For some time, I could do nothing but stare at the puddle of water left behind the AC from the car. Alright, I think we're gonna call it here. I am way more tired than I expected to be. I do sincerely apologize. I'm like dozing off as I play this. It's bad. I gotta do a save though. Alright, we're gonna do a save here. Perfect. Alright guys, thank you to any and everyone that was here. I sincerely appreciate it. If you guys want to join my Discord, link is there. There's going to be a karaoke night. I most likely am not going to be able to attend, but will be hosted by one of my friends that it's technically his thing that he hosts. But we do alternate events on on alternate Saturdays. So next week's going to be a bad movie night with community game night. So if you're interested in that, that is the place to be. I will be back on Monday. Don't know exactly the time yet since I do have a job I need to go to first. Let me take a look and see who we can raid. I'm just gonna raid and dip, unfortunately, but we'll raid Mama by Ski. All right, guys. Well, she's playing Phasmophobia. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy the weekend, guys. I will catch you all on Monday. I'm gonna go and try to get some sleep before I have to watch my nephew for the evening. Thank you again, everybody who's here. I will catch you guys later. Peace.